I, you see, when I was a boy, I had a lot of brothers, and I had 7 brothers. Had more than that, but my mother lost some children because of sickness, because of diphtheria. And there was diphtheria that they couldn't cure at that time. But anyway, everybody on the farm had a job to do. And some had to go to work, and others had to work around the farm. We had my father plowed up all the fields first. He had a big farm, and he would get up early in the morning when it was just getting daylight, when it was plowing time, and he would plow with his plow until dark. He plowed all day, and they didn't have machinery then. They had horses and to pull the plows. Now they have tractors, but then they had horses. Then my father would break up the clods on the farm that he had plowed and level it all out, and then he'd plant corn. And he planted corn by hand. I think there was one of those corn planters in a museum here in Patterson that used to belong to my father. But anyway, the corn would grow, and then he'd plant beans. Oh yeah, he planted a lot of beans. And they had to be planted in a straight row, of course. And then when the beans were all grown and ready to be picked, then all the young people, maybe 15, 16 years of age, maybe your age, would come and they'd like to pick beans for my father, because he paid 1 penny more a bushel than any of the other farmers, and he got the first pickers just because of that 1 penny. 1 penny meant a lot to some people. Now, if they say they picked 10 bushels or 15 bushels of beans, that would give them an extra 10 cents or an extra 15 cents, and that was worth that was thought of as a lot of money at one time. So, and then they would take the beans, and they all had a place to put them. After they picked them, they'd bring them in from the fields, and each had a spot by the barn to put their bushels of beans. And then my father would come at the end of the day, and after the bean picking was over, my father would come and say, "Now, Gary, how many bushels of beans did you pick today?" "Well, I picked," Mr. Stellingworth, "there are my beans over there." So my father would count them, and he would pay them. And they were very happy about that. Some of the families that pick beans are still known in Elmwood Park, where my father had his farm. At that time, Elmwood Park was known as Dundee Lake. That was the name of the town, Dundee Lake. So then he would pay them all the money that they had coming. But he gave all his boys, my brothers, and even myself, I was only a little shaver like Eben. Anybody could pick beans. So he'd say, "Jan," that's what he called me, Jan. You see, my father was Dutch, and the J at the beginning of the name is pronounced like a Y, Jan. Jan. And where are your beans? Over there, Pa. Okay, give me your book. My father gave us all a little black book, and he would mark the amount of bushels we had and how much money he owed us. So he would mark it in the book, but he never paid us. And my mother used to watch sometimes as we were being paid, and she saw all the other boys that didn't belong to the family. They were happy with their whatever money they got was cheap, but we never got anything. And my mother would be watching, and when the day was over, my mother would cry sometime because we never made any money. All we had was the black book. You know, my father still owes me that money. My father owes me money. And he owes my brothers money. So, but my father is long gone, and so is my mother. So, that was one experience we had on the farm.